Hello everyone, how are you doing? Let me remove this so you can see my full face. Quick mic check. Can everyone hear me? Type in the chat. Last time I forgot to unmute my mic. It should be unmuted this time. Anyway, so I'm Danielle, if you haven't met me before, I did a Morse code translator workshop yesterday and then Bob Ross the day before that. This is probably going to be my last workshop of the week. So thank you all for coming to my final one. Um, a little shout out from the comments. I thank you for being excited. Going into this, what's a hydration tracker? Well, um, that's what we got to figure out. Well, how I imagine this is that just like some sort of thing that can track. Well, they recommend you get 8 cups of water in your system a day. So, in a that's a really loose recommendation, but I figured it's just a way to track people the amount of cups of water that each person has drank per day. So, as I said, we're gonna do this as an Android Studio hack. Um, I feel like Android Studio's kind of overwhelming when you first get started with it. So I'm going to spend a lot of time just going over like what are the different things going on the IDE, yeah. So if this is too slow for you, like you've done Android Studio development before, or you just want to get right into the hacking, feel free to have me in the background while you just go work on your hack. You don't have to stay with me or stick and do the exact same thing the whole time, but yeah, I'm just gonna like go into showing you how all this stuff works, and hopefully we can get you at least familiarized with how it works so that if you want to continue the hack to make it even more advanced, then you have the ability to do that. And real quick, make sure you're checked in. I'm gonna get that check-in link again. You have to be checked in order for your guild to earn points. So so I'm sending that here for, yeah, this is the right link. I'm sending it in the chat now. Make sure you have that. If you didn't see already, I sent the link to download Android Studio a while ago. Again, you don't have to use Android Studio to do this. You can do it in an app in the Apple ID in the Apple IDE, or you can even do it as a website, or even just do it as like a Python in your console thing. I'm just doing it as a Android Studio app because I'm really interested in Android development and I wanted to share everything that I knew about it with you all. So there's the link to the hydration tracker, and the second link is to Android Studio, so you can take a second to download that. And then I'll also show you the settings that I usually use and how to set up an emulator. So if you don't have an Android phone, you can use set up an emulator and have it right on your screen. That's what I'll be using today. So I'll give everyone a second to get set up and checked in, but go ahead and type in the chat what your guild is because I want to know what guilds are representing so I can give them a shout out. And at the end, if you have a really exciting app, go ahead and drop it in the Global Hack Week general chat because I'd love to see like screenshots of what you created. I see some Blahaj. Is that Blahaj gang over here? We have some no guilds and some let's build together. Micro clubs back at it again. Good to see you here. Micro clubs, there's definitely been micro club members at every single one of my workshops so far, and I remembered your name. I think I saw let's build together at the last one too. And of course, yes, Flahaj gang. Community classroom, I see. Okay, looking good. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Add that to the stream so we can get started. And then I'll probably take a break around 7 p.m. after we get some good coding done so we can all drink a glass of water. Oh, everyone better have a glass of water here. This is literally the hydration tracker workshop. So we need to make sure you're actually being hydrated. So everyone, make sure you're drinking. We should all make a goal to drink 1 glass of water by the end of this workshop. So go grab your water bottle if you haven't already. Someone said, what's the hydration tracker link? I'll send you the link to Android Studio if you want the IDE I'm using. I'm going to be using Kotlin because Kotlin's the one I know. If you want to use Java, it's not that far off. So, and plus, if you already know Java as a language, you might have an easier time with Java. But I will be using Kotlin. Someone said I have a can of Sprite. Does that count? I'm gonna say no. Well, you do get hydration from everything you eat. Well, most things you eat. But we're trying to be healthy today and drink water. This is a hydration workshop. We gotta do water, 100% water. And I see someone already has experience with Kotlin and Android Studio. So, oh, by the way, I'm going to take it really slow at the beginning. So, if while I'm giving everyone like an introduction to it, if you just want to start developing, that's perfectly okay. I What you see on my screen right here is just like some practice. I'm going to have to zoom in on this later, like change my view, but I'm going to do it in a second when I pull up my new project. But I was just playing around with this yesterday. I don't have a full app created because this workshop's just meant to like get you all in an activity mood and just like it's just kind of a code together where we can all work together to build an app. But this is just something I was playing around with, just like creating the buttons. But what I wanted to do is show you all how I set up my project. So when I do a new project, yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to zoom in on this because yesterday we were having mega problems with people not being able to see this text because it's so tiny. And I don't know how this is gonna work because Android Studio, like everything's just super overwhelming with how many words are on the screen at a time. But we're gonna start with an empty activity. Oh wait, real quick before I get started, is everyone pretty much ready to get started? I want to make sure that we have at least a good chunk of people ready to get started. Drink your water. Okay, I'm assuming I haven't gotten any pushback from people not being ready. So I'm gonna say we're ready. So I'm gonna use an empty activity. Right here they have just a bunch of like pre-made things you can use. And these are super helpful, but I noticed like then you're gonna have a lot of like pre-made code. And if you're not familiar with Android Studio, then I find that really overwhelming. So we're just going to start with an empty activity. But if you have familiarity with Android Studio, I recommend doing like the bottom navigational activity and then trying to make multiple pages where you can have like one page be a calendar of the water tracking how much water people drank in the past like few months, and then another one like just being how much water did you drink today, and then the third tab being like customized so that if they drink a big glass of water versus a tiny glass of water, it'd be like 8 ounces versus 16 ounces of water. That would be another way to advance it a little. But for the beginners, we're just starting with the empty activity. And in the Android Studio tutorial, like by the Android Studio people, they always use KitKat. So I like to use KitKat as well. And then I'm going to name my application Hydration Global Hack Week 2022. So then I'm going to finish that up. Drag this onto the screen here. Okay, and then I'm going to drag this back to my side. There we go. So I'm going to first zoom in a lot. Let me change the view. Let's see, is it the same buttons as it was with the last one where it's Control Plus? Does not look like it. Okay, I got to figure out what the hotkeys are to zoom in. Give more time for everyone to get set up. Enter full screen mode. Enter presentation mode. Ooh, what's presentation mode? Let's take a look. Ooh, that's cool and all. I just can't get out. It's going to be hard to get out of. F11? No. Skip. I don't like presentation mode. My mouse is frozen. Why is my mouse frozen? Well, that's a problem. Let me go connect to my other mouse. Extra time for everyone to get set up. Here we go. can still type. Just my mouse is frozen. Control plus. Control minus. Nope. Escape. Control Z. How do I exit out of this presentation mode? Let me look it up. How do I exit out of presentation mode on Kotlin? I tried escape. Escape doesn't seem to work. With Kotlin Android Studio. Windows, for the person asking. I do use Windows. This is the team coding I was talking about. This is just the test. Alt escape. Alt escape. Nope, it's not looking good. If only I had my touchscreen. This is not my touchscreen computer. Oh, got it. Wait, I got my mouse back. Oh, here we go. Okay, I just needed my mouse back. So then, this is still. Oh wait, I can just change. Oh wait, this is actually nice for that. I just don't know how to do presentation mode and also code at the same time. I guess they just don't want that. So let's try a different version we can use to help. So distraction free mode, enter full screen mode, Zen mode. I'm just trying to figure out what's a good mode where you all can see. Because this is definitely too small. If yesterday was too small. Let's see if there's a simple zoom. How to zoom on Android Studio. So preference editor. Should be under appearance. Control plus mouse wheel. Hold on. Yes. Mouse. Okay. I'm mouse wheeling. Oh, what tools are we using today? Just Android Studio and then built-in stuff that are built into Android Studio. Okay, well, worst case scenario, I can just go into the presentation mode to zoom into things. But I was just going to go over the main things we have in Android Studio. As you can see, the great thing about Android Studio is that it has a good drag and drop feature. So you can just drag and drop buttons on the screen or images and text views. But then you can also go in the corner and you can click on split to see code and the text view next to each other, or you can just look at code. So you can see from here, if I add a button over in the view over here, and then I look in the code, they automatically add the code for the button and update it like that. So that's just a really cool part of having an IDE to do things for you. Make sure you enable settings plus editor to general. Let's see. File, settings, editor, general, change font size. Oh, here we go. Change font size with control plus mouse wheel. So let's try that. Go to code. There we go. Thank you. Answer this question. We're just using Android Studio today, but you can, if you don't want to use Android Studio, you do not have to at all. You can use whatever you want. I can drop the link to Android Studio as well. Okay, so now that we have that, so the activities underscore it main, if you know how to do web development, this is kind of like our HTML page. It controls everything that we visually see. And then the main activity.kt, that is going to control things like a Java, like JavaScript would. So this will do things where you can do actual, this will be like the actual code that does the functionality. So then we can go and just start. Well, let's actually, before we start, let's get an emulator as well. So to do that, what you're going to have to do is go up here. I already have one. You probably won't have anything here, but I already have one emulator here. But if you want to add a new one, you can go to Device Manager. And then from Device Manager, you can have create a new device. And then I like to use the Pixel 3. Just that's a random choice. You can use any of these devices, honestly. It doesn't really matter. That's just the random number that I picked. And then, so if you want to have the same exact thing that I'm using, that is what I'm using. And then I download R. Mine's already downloaded, so that's why I can't download here. I'm not really sure the difference between all these. I don't think it makes a very big deal, but I usually download R or S. And then you can set the name of it as well, and whether you want it to have in portrait or landscape mode, which I believe you can also change actively. But those are all the settings that I use, and I'm not going to add a new one because I already have mine right here, my Pixel 3. So then when you click run at the top using the emulator you created, then it'll take a minute because the Gradle has to finish building. This always takes forever, but it should pop up right here with the little tiny hello world maybe. You have to give a really long time for the Gradle to finish running. Oh, this is the old project. This is the wrong app. But another really cool thing to know about this is that the emulator has like there's the right app. It just popped up. It just needed a second. But the emulator has access to like all the apps you created. So you can see right here my multiple hydration trackers, a dice roller app I made, and then another water tracker app that I used for practice. So I'm going to go ahead and hide that. So today, let's just start with drag and dropping a few features. We're gonna need, just for like the simple app, we're gonna start with just the base. We just need the button. Then we have a text view right here, and then we're gonna toss in another text view. So in this top text view, if you go to code, you should be able to see the two text views and the buttons now added, assuming you dragged and dropped those on, with like a bunch of preset things. So I'm going to take the first text view that says hello world, and I'm going to change that to a text that says, you drank this many cups of water. And then I'm going to go over to this text view, and I'm going to start with 0 because the default is 0 cups of water. And then for the button, I'm going to say +1 water. This is the button they're going to press whenever they drink another water. And I'll make this text bigger as well. So now we have our 3 buttons that say the appropriate thing. We're going to have to make the text bigger because it's really tiny right now. But another thing you have to do with things in Android Studio is you see when I click on the first one, the Hello World one, you can see it has like these blue lines constraining them to the top, bottom, and left and right of the page. But the other ones we made, they aren't constrained yet. So in Android Studio, since all phones are different, we have to constrain our text and button relevant to other things on the page. Since like we can't say I want this 3 inches to the right, because on one phone that might be center, but on a different phone that won't be center. So you do everything relatively. So we just got to constrain our 0 to the left and the right, and then we can constrain it to the bottom of this top one. And then for our water button, we can constrain it to the left and the right, and then also constrain it to the bottom of the 0. So now we have these 3 things compressed together, and we can work with the margins later to make this look a lot better, just like a lot more spread out. But we're going to keep it simple in the beginning. Okay, I'm going to do split screen. I was afraid it wasn't going to be big enough, but it looks like this text is big enough when I'm in split screen. So this is good. But now we can see that we have added this code for constraints. For example, this code right here that says app layout constraint end to end of parent. That means the right side of this button is constraint to the right side of this page. So if we were to delete this line, then this button just moved to a random location because it doesn't know where to go. I also want to change the IDs here because these are really in descriptive IDs. So IDs in Android Studio work the same as they do in HTML, where it's just a way for us to identify what item we're referring to when we're doing our code, in our Kotlin code. So I'm going to change this ID to now say, since this is the top text view, I'm just going to change it to say plain how much water. That's what I'm going to change it to. I'm going to change it to how much underscore text view because it's a text view that asks how much water you drink. So now our constraint for the 0 is messed up because it's based off of what we had our old ID as. So we now have to update this to how much text view, and everything's back to normal. I'm going to change the rest of them to this button's going to be the ID / add water button. And then looks like everything's okay around here. And then I'm going to change this one to be because nothing was based off of that, but I'm going to change this 0 to be the water count text view. Underscore text view. I'm actually going to change this add water button to be add water underscore button. It's just a helpful way to keep track of the type as well. So then I'm going to change this to, this is the water button, so it should be based off of the water count text view. There we go. I'm going to zoom out a little bit so everyone can see all the text that we've added here. So thing you might notice now is that the text here is highlighted in yellow. The reason for that is if you look here, there's a thing called string resources. You can just click on extract string resource, and this makes this into a resource in your resources file. I forgot where to find the resources file at. Let me see. It's not under manifest. It's not under Java. Wait, I can just control click and that should bring me to the resources file. Yeah. So here are the list of resources we have. This is just what's conventional for Android Studio because now you can use this so that you can use this one string multiple times instead of creating individual strings. It's just a little bit of what's used in the industry. So then I'm going to go ahead and do that with all of the text strings we created. Let's extract this as a string resource. Okay. So now that is all set up and that all looks good. Okay. So let's look at what to do next. So another thing that I noticed here is that they have a plus ID. Plus ID you typically use for when you're creating a brand new ID. So I'm going to delete the plus because you can just do at ID for there. Now we just have like our basic interface. So if we run our code now and look at our app, which we have to wait for the Gradle to run again. Here we go. So now our app is updated and fit to the phone. And if you have a different size phone, you can add emulators of different sizes so that you can do a multiple, and then you can see how it looks on multiple different types of screens. You can even get it to work on your own phone if you have an Android phone, but you just need a cord to connect with your phone. And then you can download the app from your straight to your phone. So there we have that. Now let's see. I think we're ready to add. Oh, actually, before we add a little bit of functionality, let's make this text a little bigger. So we can just go into text view, and I believe it's under Android text size. And let's change it to, I don't know, 50 SP? That's way too much. 25 SP. There you go. I'm going with 25. You can use whatever you would like. But by just typing Android : you can see so many different things that you can do. Like set the margins here. We can set margins to something. We can set background tint, all sorts of things. That's an easy way to figure out ways you can customize your app without like using the internet or anything. So then let's go over here and then change. Oh, the button's fine actually. I'm probably going to change the color later, make it look prettier. But for now, let's skip that and do this Android : text size for the 0. And let's set it to 50 SP. Yeah, let's go up a little further. Let's go to like 100 SP. I like that. Okay. So there we go there. And this is all centered on this top one. We should have centered it on the 0. I'm thinking about doing that instead. Yeah, instead of centering everything on this top one, let's switch it to the constraints so that everything is centered on this 0. So I'm going to make the zeros constraints the top and the bottom of the screen. And then I'm going to delete this bottom constraint. So I'm getting rid of this. I'm going to tell it to constrain to the 0. Ooh, that does not look good. Oh, wait, it's because I need to remove the top constraint as well. So we don't want to constrain to the top parent. Now it's stuck down. Okay. That looks better in my opinion. Excellent. So let's see. Let's get into some of the code. So now we can start with something very simple. What we want to do first is make it so when you click this button, this number goes up. Okay, this looks good. I'll actually give you all a minute to look at this just in case you need to look at that. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. Okay, I'm going to get on to the main activity.kt part. So again, this is like our JavaScript. So Android has a bunch of different cycles. The main cycle is on create. On create is what the app first does right when the app starts. There's other cycles in the Android's in this Android's life cycle. There's other things besides on create, but for this tutorial, we're just going to put everything in the on create, just because that is simpler, and the Android life cycle will take like an hour to teach, and I don't want to do that right now. But I'm going to comment here. This is start of code. So, to access a thing that you have written here, it's very similar to HTML. You can do find by button, find view by ID. And then I believe in the parentheses, you just have to put the ID. So the ID for the button, we'll start with the button, is going to be add water underscore button. Let me double check to make sure that's right. Yeah, it's going to be, so you do find view by ID, and then it's r dot ID dot add, wait, add water button. There we go. So now we have our view, and we also want to save this as a button. So I'm going to call this the add button in my code. Oh, and then they want the type of it. Okay. We can set the type. The type is of type button. Oh, and then we need to import. So every single time you add something new to your code, you're going to have to click the import button. So you see at the top, I just added import android.widget.button. So if you ever see an error like that, just right click on the whatever word's read, and it's likely just that you need to import something new. So now we have access to a button named add button, and that directly gets us to this button, but in this new file. So perfect. So now the next thing we need access to is this number 0 right here. So we're going to do the same thing, except it's going to be water count underscore text view. So we're going to do val. We're going to call it water count colon text view. Again, we have to click on text view and import it. There we go. And then we find view by ID, r.id dot how much water count text view. So there we go. We have that. Yeah, I don't think I need this, since I already declare up here what the type is, but it made me add it before. Now it doesn't want me to. So now we have access to both the files that are inside the activity main. So now to get further, we just have to go to yes. So now to get further, we just have to make it so that we actually update the water count on click. So just like in HTML, as I'll say many times, they have on-click listeners for buttons. So we can do add button, but set on-click listener, and that's It's as simple as that. Now every single time we click the add button, it will run whatever code we have in this listener. And what do we want to do when the add button is clicked? We want to do the water count, and we want to increase that. So we do water count dot text equals. For now, let's just set it to 1,000 and make sure that works. So let's run our code again. I'll go back here in case anyone needs to see it while the Grail's running. So it says you drank this many cups of water, click the add one, and then it changes our text. It's as simple as that. So now we can change it so it's water count dot text plus equals 1. Wait, water count dot text dot, we have to make it into an integer. Think in my head how to do that. We have to do, wait, I have to remember how to do it. Water text, is it that 2 int? Oh no, it's parsent, right? Yeah, I think it's parsent. Integer dot parsent water count dot text should turn it into an integer if I'm correct. Add toString. And then this one I believe needs to be changed to as string because Kotlin likes to do this thing where it never assumes anything. So you always have to make sure you write what everything is. So to recap this line, we made it so we got access to waterCount.text, which is just whatever text is inside of the big zero. It would be the big zero, and then we got turned it into a string because it's not a string. I believe it's something like it's a char at that moment in time, but we have to have it as a string, and then we turn the string into an integer, and then we turn the integer, and then we have to add 1 to the integer, plus 1, and then we have to turn it back into a string. And then that should give us our integer plus 1. So let's rerun that. So now when we add 1, it's just going to go up. So now we have a really simple counter coming. Now we have a really simple counter. So let's take a water break. I'm almost done with my water. She'll be better be a little more. You whole better be at least halfway done with your water. But now we have a really simple counter app. So if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments. We can take a little break while you look at the code. Or any questions unrelated to coding or Android coding. But now we have that. However, there are still plenty of problems with this app. And really right now it's just a counter. There's nothing really hydration about it besides the fact that it says water. And another problem with it is that if we close the app and reopen it, which one is it? Hydration. It's one of these ones. So it's not this one, it's the first one. Okay. Yeah, but if we close it and we reopen it, then the number is going to go back to 0. So that means the person has to keep the app open at all times if they want to track their water throughout the day. So first things first, we want to find a way to save that information every single time the app closes. So the easiest way to save data locally on a phone is going to be through shared preferences. So that's the first thing we're going to do is shared preferences. With shared preferences, it's pretty much just saying, hey, save this little itty bit of data so that the next time the user opens the phone, you can access that data. So going into shared preferences. So how you can access shared preferences is like this. We just have to create a little value named shared preferences. And the function to make your shared preferences is get shared preferences. Inside of it, you should have sp info underscore info and mode private. There we go. And then, so now we have our shared preferences in case, but we also need some other things. Just generally, every single time you make shared preferences, you need these things. You need an editor. So an editor is what you're going to use to actually edit the shared preferences, because you can save things using shared preferences, but you have to use the editor to update the previous value in shared preferences. Wait, we'll start without the editor so you all can see how important the editor is. So first of all, we're going to have to make a value. So we're going to do a variable, and we're going to call it water count. And water count is going to be a shared preferences dot get string water count. And this is where we set our default. We're going to set our default to 1000. Oops, not here. Specify type. What is the type? We want this. Wait, this is going to be a string. This is not a string. What is this? This is a string. Trying to figure out what it wants. It says conflicting declarations string. It doesn't need to be a value. A variable count. String that edit. Oh, it's because I have two variables named water count. That's the problem. So we have water count. I'm going to make this a variable. Water. Let's say number water. Or which thing just send water count text underscore text underscore text. And then this can say water count. They're pretty much the same values. Okay, so now we need something to do with it. So, so this water count is pretty much just saying, look in our database for the string name water count. If there is a value, take that value. But if there is no value, use this value right here, 1000. This is just a random default value I made for demonstration purposes. But now we want to actually update that value every single time. Okay. So now I'm trying to think of how to do. We're just going to add the editor now. So I was trying to think of if I can not add the editor for demonstration purposes, but I can't think of a good way to do it. So we're just going to add the editor. So there's this thing called the editor, and it is made by doing this. Oops, shared preferences dot edit. And the editor is going to allow you to update your shared preferences. So over here, we want to take we first want to make sure right when we start the app that we're using the number that is in our shared preferences. Yes. So we're going to take, right when we start, we're going to take this instead of using find view. Oh, instead of doing this first, we want to set the water count underscore text dot text equal the water count that we got up here. So now if we run our code, we can see that it automatically sets to 1,000 instead of 0 because it's using this default value that exists up here. And of course, we don't want it to be 1,000. We just want it to be 0. I just wanted to show you how that works so that it actually changes. And there we have it. So now it's back to 0. So now we have to make it so that, and the button should still increase. But the problem is when we close the app, open it back up, it's still going to be at 0 because our editor was never updated. So it's going to pull this default value from over here. We need to tell it that it's no longer needs to use the default because we have a value for it to use now. So to do that, we can go over here, and this is where we're actually going to update our editor. So we can to update the editor, we do editor.putString, and then we tell it the first parameter is telling it which word to do, which is going to be water count. We want to tell it to update the key water count, and we want to tell it to replace the value that's in water count with whatever is in water count underscore text dot text. And then we need to do it as a string. And then to push all the commits at the end, we do editor.commit. Then rerun that. So now it goes up a number, and when we close the app and restart it, it still says 7. So do it again, it's up to 15. I close the app, and then I open it up again, and then it's still at 15. Now, to reset this, of course, we want it to reset when it hits midnight every day. Um, this is really complicated and requires a lot of testing, and I would love to do it with y'all, but for demo purposes, I'm going to quickly add a scapegoat for us by adding in a button. Let's all add a button, just drop it in the corner. And then set that button. We're going to call this button the clear button. Clear text. Is there another clear text button? Why did that auto come out? Well, whatever. We have clear text. And then we're going to add some code so that we can take the val of clear button, colon, button. We can set it equal to find view by ID, the ID being r.id dot clear text. And then we can set that to, and then when the clear button is clicked, we want an on click listener. And when the button is clicked, we want to set water count underscore text dot text to equal 0, 0. And we want the editor to put water count as 0. And we want the editor to commit the changes. So now when we run it, we can click this button and it automatically cleans up everything. And when we close the app, when it closes the app, since we didn't clear, it's going to say 4, right? Yeah, but then press the button, clear the app, click on it. It should still say 0, which is perfect. Of course, in real life, we don't want our user to have to automatically clear the button every single day. But to do that, but if you want to actually implement this, the way you would do it is you can get the local time that's on the phone and store that into your shared preferences, and then you can get and then you can compare the time that the app was most recently opened with the current time, and if the day is the day after, then you want to have it automatically clear. So I guess we can do we can try to implement this, but what we would do is see if the time just is if the day is different than the most recently logged day, then that means we want to automatically clean it. So let's see. Why don't we give that a shot? Okay. Let me remember how to do local time stuff. Okay. I have the local time stuff pulled up. So let's see, to do the time code, we can make a value of the current date, make that equal to the local date dot now. And then we're gonna have to import that. So Alt Enter, import. Yes. Sure. Okay. Sometimes when there's errors, it's best to just do what it suggests you to do, which they just suggested I add the requires API annotation stuff. So now what I like to do is we can put a little text view in the corner so we can see what's going on. Let's have a little text view in the corner, constrain that to the corner. We hard code that out with a little margin. Go. Again, we gotta go and fix the ID on that. So let's set the ID to the date underscore text view. And let's set the Android text size. Let's set it to 25 SP. Oh, let's set it to more than that. Let's set it to 50 SP. Sorry, I'm gonna change it one more time. Let's set it to 30 SP. It's still too big for me. Then we can go back to the main activity.kt and let's set the, let's think. So we want to set, oh yeah, let's set the date text view, colon text view. Let's set that equal to find view by ID r dot ID dot date text view. There you go. Now we have access to that, and then let's go ahead and set the display. Date text view equals current date. So we got a type mismatch because this is a local date type, so we're just going to toString that. Rerun it. And then we see my current date in the corner, which is, oh, it says the 4th? The date is the 5th. Oh, maybe the date on this phone is the 4th. Let's check the settings. System time. Oh, they think it's the 4th. Okay. Yeah, it's the 5th. So there we go. Gotta close this app so it updates. There we go. It's set to the 5th now. So let's go and let's make another shared preference. And we can call this new shared preference pa- pastime equals shared preferences dot get string, and we'll call this the past time, comma, and we'll set a default to 2022 dash 0, do 04 dash 04. And then we'll just say, then we can say if pastime and I'm gonna do a .toString method just to make sure this is a string. Colon string. So let's say if pastime does, is it not equal like that? Oh, I need parentheses. If pastime does not equal current date, might be complaining because I use, yes, this is between string and local date. So let's set this to set current date to .toString. I don't think I need it in the other form. Yeah, like that. That looks like it's working. And if that's true, then what we want to do is set pastime. Oh, we want to update this shared preference. So let's do the editor dot put string pastime, and we're going to set it to the current date. And then we're going to take the dot commit so we don't forget. And then let's change the display time. So date underscore text view dot text equals current date. We can even just move, let's actually take those out and just move it to outside the if statement because we want that to run after this if statement every time. Okay, so to recap, so I can double check and make sure we don't make any mistakes, we have a current date variable that takes the current date of the phone that the phone has, and then we find this view right here, and if the shared preferences past date, which defaults to this date, does not equal the current date, that is two-stringed, then we want to replace what is in past time with the current date, and then we also want to clear what is in saved preferences, right? So then we want to change the water count here to 0. So let's change the water count. Ooh, this should be under this other thing. But let's change the water count underscore text dot text equal 0. And then we need to update the shared preferences for that. So we're going to have to update, we're going to do editor dot put string water count and set that to 0. That should update the text we see visually, but also update what is saved in the shared preferences. So let's rerun this and see if we made any mistakes here. Okay, so we have the current date. Bring up the water account. Let's clear that. Make sure it comes back first of all. Make sure our shared preferences isn't messed up. So it still has 6, which is good. Let's update the date to the 6th. And let's see what happens here. Does it reset to 0? And it does. So then we up it again. We're going to up it to 4. Clear it. Does it come back as 4? Yes, it does. Excellent. So now we have it at the end of the day, every single day, it will reset back to 0. So now we have pretty much the base of a hydration tracker working. So let's go ahead and take a quick break to refill our waters and use the bathroom, and we'll meet back here in about 5 minutes. So on the 40. Oh, and I forgot to say, if you need any code, if you need to see any code, feel free to type in the chat and I will move to that section of the code. Okay, I will fill back on my water. I'm still gonna give 2 minutes because I said I would do it on the 40. Everyone, make sure you stretch. Stretch those arms. Look away from the screen. It's so important to take like a little standing break while you're coding, because after like 2 hours, it's just bad for your body. Just like look, like the look away every 20-minute trick. Yeah. Definitely haven't been doing this time. So the rule is every 20 minutes you're supposed to look at a object 20 feet away for 20 seconds. So we all got to choose your object and look. I'm looking outside my window. 5 Mississippi, 6 Mississippi, 7 Mississippi, 8 Mississippi, 9 Mississippi, 10 Mississippi, 11 Mississippi, 12 Mississippi, 13 Mississippi, 14 Mississippi, 15 Mississippi, 16 Mississippi, 17 Mississippi, 18 Mississippi, 19 Mississippi, 20. Okay. Highlighting this comment. Stay hydrated. That's the point of the activity, everyone. Drink your water. Oof. Also, drop your time zone. I'm in Eastern Standard Time, so if anyone's in across the world from me, sorry, because it's probably like 7 a.m. your time. Oof. Okay, let's get back to it. So there's two things we can do next. The first thing is make it a little more color themed, like add more blues, maybe some pictures in the background, like a water bottle or a splash of water. Or we can do something where we what was the other thing that we could have done? Or we can do something where once they reach 8, we're like, congratulations, you met your goal. Just to like encourage everyone. I wonder if we can do like notification reminders. I don't know how complicated that would be. I've never done something like that before. I'm gonna look it up real quick. Look at your times. Some people are at almost 1 a.m. I'm so sorry. Been awake since 11 p.m. Might as been awake since 11 p.m. Might as well be on the East Coast. That's funny. Okay, I'm gonna look how easy is it to do notifications. Android Studio. Get a notification. Let's look at this together. Pull up on the screen. We can see if it's like feasible within the time. And for reference, it's 7:41 where I am. Yeah, I don't know if this is feasible within the time. It would be interesting. Another thing we can do is like when it reaches 8, it would be really easy to just like have a pop-up message that says congrats, just like a little like small toast at the bottom of the screen that's like, hooray, you did it. Something that's not permanent. Let's see. In this section, you'll learn how to create a notification that users can click on to launch an activity in your app. There's small icons, set content title, set content text, set priority. This looks like a lot. Okay, we might get to this actually, because I think this is something super interesting. But real quick, let's just do the two basic things I talked about. Let's have it do a toast after you get to 8 cups of water. Let's look that up. How to do a toast in Android Studio. Android Studio has like awesome documentation for everything. Make text. Yeah, let's add, so to do the toast, it'll be super easy. We can just go down to the start of code and then just make it so as the button is clicked, if water count underscore text dot text is, and let's turn that into an integer. So dot, what is it, parsent integer dot parsent. Let's do that is greater than 8, and we want to do something. I think I need to do as string as well. Okay, so then to do a toast, it's super duper duper simple. A super duper simple way to add a little twist and flair to your app during a hackathon. And just do toast dot make text. Ooh, and the parameters for this is context, text, and duration. I don't know what my context is. What is my context? Does it have any suggestions for me? Make text context. I think my context can just be context, right? Okay, let's give context a try. Give it Let's see what the error suggestions are for this. Remove braces from if statement. What do you mean? Well, let me finish this first. So then my text is going to be, congrats, you did it. And then my duration is going to be, I don't know is it the duration a number? Let's try 1000. And then we can do, oh wait, I see what it is now. It's toast dot length, short or long. Let's do long. And then dot show. Okay. To fix my context. What is my context? Let's see what other suggestions they have. Context, provider, context. Pretty sure people typically just use context as their context. Let me look it up. I can do get context. Let's see. I'm gonna read this so we all can see. This is a good explanation. What is context on Android? As the name suggests, it is the context of the current state of the application slash object. It lets newly created objects understand what's going on. Typically, you call it to get information regarding another part of your program. You can get context by invoking get application context, or get base context, or this. So let's try doing get context. I think we would have to do it as its own thing though. So like val context equals get context. Import. Does that work? I can use context here. None of the following functions can be called with arguments supplied. Context, choice sequence, int. Context, exclamation point. Okay, so that doesn't look like it worked out right. Let's do get application context. Try that one. Or let's try also this. Sometimes the context is this. It looks like this works. Let's give that a shot. Okay, so now when it gets to 8, oh, it works. Congrats, you did it. You see, it's just a really simple little blimp at the bottom. I wonder if we can customize it as well. But it's just a little pop-up on the screen. Let's do some more screen customization so we can make this look better. Let's do the clear button. A thing about Android Studio that's always fun to show is they do have some built-in images if you want to experiment with those. I was looking at options that we can use, but I didn't see anything particularly helpful. You can see they have like arrows, stars, X's, fast forward, slow down, like all these things, drawing. I don't think there's anything particularly helpful to us though. We'll give it another look around. But Bluetooth calls. Yeah, I don't think any of these will be helpful to us because these are all just like typical things that you would need in a phone app, not necessarily for decoration or anything. But we can probably set, I would just like to get something, if they had like a little blob, that would be cool because I just want like a colored blob. Let me see if they have anything like that. Or even like if we can get one of these circles. It's just a small icon. But I want to make it so that you all can download it, not just me. And I also don't want to check if the image is copyrighted. These look kind of cool, these blobs. This looks a little bit like a dot. Let's see. It's a really tiny dot. Oh, it's already the right color. Look at it. Can I send them back from here? I can probably do that in a second. I think this looks nice, and it already was set in the right color. Let's do split screen. And let's move this image view to, let's move this image view to the front. So it's in the very back. And then we also have to constrain it down. So I'm just going to constrain it into the center. Boop. And a boop. And a boop. And a boop. Perfecto. Okay, it looks kind of odd with this. You drank this many cups of water. So maybe we can have this centered a little more upwards. So let's have it like that. And how much text is right here? I think I just set a margin bottom, which I don't really want that. There. That looks good. At least for this screen it does. And then let's set the text color over here. Let's do Android :text color. Let's set it to white maybe? Is that weird? Thought it'd be nice to have like white than white. I'm not the best UI designer, so I'm not very good at it. Maybe we can change these button colors too. What would be a good button color? Where's this button? This button. Let's set that button color. Android : is it background tint? Set it at color blue. Is that not a colors option? I think I can do. I can use like FFF. I'm gonna find what color is navy blue in it's 000080. 000080. I think that's a better color. And I'm gonna set this bottom clear button as well. Android colon color. What was it? It was background color. Background. Um, let's set this color as the color we set as a resource. Can we set that as a resource? Extract color resource, and let's name it navy blue or just navy. So now that was an example of how to use resources, because if I control click on this, you can see all the colors we have listed for use. And you can see I now added navy as one of those colors. It's capitalized though, which is kind of weird, but it's okay. I already set it. And now when I go down here, instead of having to type the color code again, I can do @color/navy. And that will automatically change the color. Not change the color. Oh, because I set it as background. What does it have to be? Background tint. You can use background if you want to use an image instead of a button. So if you don't like the shape of this button and you want to change the shape, then you can set your background equal to an image, which is pretty cool. I think that's starting to look better already. And let's also set this text color to navy. Okay, I'm not sure that looks much better, but okay. Uh, text color equals navy. Okay. Now let's see this app in real time. We could use some cut margins on the end here because the text is right up on it. But the app is working. It looks good. It does the congrats you did it as well. So I'm liking how it's going. Okay, in our last 30 minutes, I want to take a look at notifications. I am not sure if we can get this done in time, but I at least want to like read about it and see if it's possible. Because I think it would be really cool and it's really essential to apps to do that. So create a basic notification. So you're going to have to use a notification builder. And we can use there's a bunch of different types. You see, Android Studios, like the Android developer page is really good because this was made by the people that did all this stuff. And it's really cool because you can choose which language you want to write in and it automatically sets that and everything. And then the resources are just like so well written out and easy to read. It's not they don't use that many complicated words that you don't understand. And even if there are complicated words, it's pretty easy to look them up. But you see it says builder equals notification compat dot builder, small icon, set content title, set content text. What is this? Okay, let's try this. Okay, so I don't know what a channel ID is. Let's see. It's saying that notice that the combat builder constructor requires you to provide a channel ID. You want the notification to be longer. You set style. It's okay. Create a channel and the importance. So you need to create the complicated part that I'm not sure if we can figure out in time is the create a notification channel. Hmm. I don't know. This just might be a little bit too much for 30 minutes. We might need an hour for this one. I'll tell you what, next time I do a workshop on mobile apps, I'll try to figure it out in time so that I'll know it and then we can start off with that after we get the basis of our apps down. But for now, instead, I'm thinking what we can do is start by fixing our toast because our toast looks terrible right now. How to make toast UI look good. Toast Android Studio. Oh, I think I can it's just as easy as, wait, let me think about it. How to adjust the UI of the toast. Toast overview. Can you change toast UI? Editor toast. Trying to see if there's a way to make toast look better. You can change where the toast is displayed. And you should be able to change the background color of the toast, I think. How to change toast background color in Android. Okay, you can create a custom toast message by using an inflator. Ooh, inflators are hard. U equals view dot find text. Text dot set color. Ooh, in fact, we have to do with an inflator. I'm not sure it's worth the time. Just dot get view. Background research. Okay, let's give it a shot. So it looks like what they're doing here is that you can get the toast. Where do we have our toast? It's under here. So they get the toast view. So before they do dot show, do toast stuff. So before they do dot show, they have this saved as a toast. So they do toast, toast. This isn't Java, so it should be toast colon value or variable toast colon toast equals toast dot make text. And then if we do toast dot show, everything should work out correctly if this is right, which I think it is. See, do. Okay, yes, it still shows. So that looks like it's all working out right. So then we can do, it has can create a text view. View dot find view by ID. That ID dot message. And then we just do whatever we want with the text view. But we can also set a background resource, like a drawable. But we have to actually make the drawable, if I remember correctly, which we do not have a drawable made. There's drawables here. Let's see. We have like drawables made here, but we'd have to make a new one. Let's see if we can make an easy drawable. Toast underscore the icon underscore toast .xml oval. And I'm gonna look up oval XML file on the internet to see if we can just get that down. I've done this before, but it was a while back. So let's see. Or even if we can just create it ourselves. Let's see what they did here. So they set a vector, they fill it, but I'm pretty sure we can do something else too. We don't need a selector. What are our options? We're going to do a drawable. Nope, that's not what we're doing. Do a shape. In XML. Yeah, so we're on the right start. So we do shape, XML. I'm going to copy this over from Stack Overflow. And then we can set the solid color, be Android color navy. Just start with navy. And then we can set the size equal Android height. And we're going to set it to like 120 dp. And then we can set the Android height, Android width equal to 500 dp. Oop, that looked funky. Instead of circle, can we do a rectangle? And then let's add corners. I think there's something with corners that we can do. Oh, wait. Or is it just, is it the corners? Android radius, and let's set it to 10 dp. Oh, even further to 20 dp. So now we have a cool shape going for us. Then let's end the slash shape. And that. Okay, so we have this cool drawable shape. And then we can go over here to our toast. And we can set the toast. Oh, we can do view equals toast dot get view. We have to import view, of course. Alt enter. Oh, I'm writing in Java because the tutorial I'm looking at is in Java. So var view colon view equals toast dot get view. There's an error. There we go. And then we can do, if this tutorial is telling the truth, we can do view.set background resource. Oh, we could have just done .set background color, but we already made our drawable to icy toast. Tron with null check. Sure, we'll add a null check and just see how this goes. I'm not positive this will work out the way we mean it to, but at least we went through setting up a drawable. Let's see how this goes. Oh, it did not work. But it's okay. I'm assuming it has something to do with this being depreciated, looks like. Inspect depreciation options. Toast dot. Let's see what we have. Dot set text dot show duration gravity. So the things they let us change with toast automatically is the duration of it, where gravity hits it, the horizontal margin, the vertical margin, the x offset, y offset. That should decide where it is. Set gravity, set margin, set text, show. This is the view we're looking at, but it looks like it's depreciated. Let's see if there's anything with background or just view. Dot. Okay, let's try to do get view again. Get view. You run it real quick. Let's see, even if I can't show it there, maybe I can show the view on a different item. We can try doing the view for, since it doesn't look like this is working, let's try to set one of the buttons as a drawable just so you all can see how that looks. So how that would happen is we would go over here to the button. Let's go to the clear button. And let's go ahead and set the button name to be clear. So it's actually more descriptive. That's been bothering me. And instead of setting background tint, we set background equal at drawable IC toast. Looks kind of off. Looks super off. See what our other background options is. The background type, background mode. Oh well. Looks like this isn't working out today. But it's pretty much the same thing. We at least learned how to do a little bit of XML coding here, because that was the XML code that I used to get to this. I don't think we have time to add them in, which is sad, but we'll real quick set the toast so that we can move it to a different area that's not just the bottom of the screen to demonstrate that, since that will be easy. So we do toast that let's do, how should we do it? Let me see how it visually looks again. So it's coming out over here. Let's just set it so that it's on the left side. So let's set gravity of the toast dot set gravity. It's offset X and offset Y. I forgot which way we go. Let's do 0, 0 and see where that is. Oh wait, there's a little error. Wait, gravity. Oh, see. I don't know what they want us to put in the gravity parameter. How to set gravity of toast. Okay, so we can do gravity top, gravity left. Gravity gravity dot top to gravity dot left. So reference to gravity. Oh, let's just do gravity dot left and see how that works. Nothing. Try gravity top? Or is the problem that we no, it shouldn't be that we already did that up there because we haven't shown yet. Give it one more shot. Gravity dot top and see how it affects it before we end the stream. Let's clean this up. Oh well, the toast stuff isn't working. But I'm pretty proud of the app that we created because over here we can see that the app not only takes account, it congratulates users when they get to 8, and we can have this auto clear button, but including that, we have it so when we switch to the next day, so let's go to the 7th. When we switch to the next day, ooh, this is interesting. Is my app just not updating? Because we did have it work like this before. Let's clean it. 8. Open it up. Oh no, it reset. It's good. Reset the date and reset that. So everything's working right there. So I hope you all enjoyed. I'm going to go ahead and end the stream because we're coming up on the 2 hours now. Let me know if you want me to share this code with you. And thank you all so much for coming to my last workshop of the week, probably. And make sure you check in before you go because check-ins will be closed in a few minutes after the workshop is done. So do make sure you check in. And thank you so much for coming. I think we came up with a good product, and I hope you came out knowing a little more about mobile app development than you did before. So that's it. I'll go ahead and head out. Bye, everyone.